Good news, everybody. I finally got the old broken starter out of my Honda ES6500 generator. And it was a big pain because it's really tightly packed in there, and there isn't any documentation or videos or anything like that online showing you how to get to it. But there's about to be. Thanks to EJ Rager on the doityourself.com forum, who was the only person who offered me any help, because he made an account in 2014 to ask how to get this part out, received no responses, came back to tell everybody what he did, and then never posted again. So EJ Rager, you're a hero, and let's all be more like that and post some updates so people like me finding the thread 8 years later aren't totally lost. So the first thing you'll do is remove the battery here. The negative terminal is connected to this wire, and the first piece of hardware you'll take out to remove this black plastic cover on the engine. When you take that off, be mindful of there's this wire clip on your ignition coil assembly. You'll want to pop that out so you're not pulling on any of your wires, and then the cover kind of slides off of this plastic piece here. So once you got that off, you'll want to remove this whole thing next because it's blocking the removal of the flywheel. You probably don't have to take that white plastic fan off of the flywheel. I did, but the real challenge is going to be getting off this flywheel nut. I tried chocking the flywheel and just torquing it with a wrench, and all I was doing was lifting the engine. So you're really going to want an impact wrench. The impact wrench took care of it instantly for me. And once you get that flywheel off, behind the flywheel you will find the two bolts that are securing your starter in place, and they are going through this engine mount bracket. And unfortunately, this engine mount bracket is sort of trapping your starter in place, and it's going to have to come out in order for you to get the starter out. It sits on this vibration damper with two nuts on either side. You can take those two out pretty easily. They're the easy ones. There's a third one right down in there, which is not that hard to get to, but the fourth one is up here at the top, and it sits behind this aluminum plate. And that one is the difficult one because you can't reach it well, maybe you can reach it. I couldn't reach it. But I couldn't reach it without taking this electrical panel off and swinging it out of the way. That's not that difficult. It's a little tedious. There's a lot of hardware, but none of it's really difficult to get to. Maybe you can find an easier way to get it out of the way. But I unscrewed these that match up here and here on this side. The ones on the other side are a little difficult to reach, so I elected to unscrew that whole part of the frame there. And in order to get to those, I had to take off the radiator cover, which has screws in the corners, and in order to slide that out, I had to take out the nameplate, which has screws on the left, the right, and one up here in the middle. And once you do all that, you can disconnect this cord from your carburetor over here. There's two screws that just need to be loosened so you can pull it out. You don't have to take them all the way out. And then just be mindful of some of your cable clips and stuff here. Make sure you're not pulling on it too hard and breaking anything. But once you slide it out of the way, you can reach in and back out this bolt, but you still won't be able to remove this bracket because this plate is holding it in place. So if you see if I can see it in here, there is a bolt here that you don't have to take all the way out, but if you back it out just enough to loosen this plate, there's enough wiggle room to get that bracket out. In order to get it out, you will have to have removed that rubber damper, And to get that out, you can use a crowbar or a hammer or something on the other side to pry the engine up and lift it up off of that damper. It may help to loosen this right side bolt or the right side nut to get it off there. Once that bracket is out, the starter comes out pretty easily. Just the only thing to be mindful of it is it has these little male fixtures here that mate up with these little holes in the case. So you'll have to pull this forward a little bit in order to pull the whole starter forward and get it out. And it's only connected at the solenoid. This one just slides right off. You don't need any tools to pull it off, and the hot terminal comes off with your crescent wrench or whatever you got. Pretty much everything on here is 10, 12, and 14 millimeter bolts. Once you get it all the way out, you just have to do the whole thing in reverse to put the new one back together. But while you're here, it'd be a good idea to change your oil filter, because it's hard to reach without this panel out. I think the replacement part for the OEM is an Oregon 83000. So good luck taking it out. I wish I had a video, so I made this one for you. Don't subscribe, I don't do this very often. Good luck.